Good day, everyone! I am Kader Shalom F. Guzman, and this is
Albedo Shanghel.
And today we are going to talk about the conic sections, specifically circle and ellipse. But first, we're going to learn how to make a circle. Audrey, can you tell us how to make a circle?
Circle made by slicing a cone parallel to the floor.
Just like what Audrey said, you slice a cone parallel to the floor, just like this. This is the slice, and then this is the floor. You will make a perfect circle. Audrey, tell us how to make an ellipse.
So, ellipse made by slice a cone with a slight angle.
So right here, look at our drawing. You have your cone, and then you slice it with an angle. Then you will make an ellipse. So that's about it on how to make these two conic sections. Now we're gonna learn more about the circle in the next part of the video. Hi, we're back. Now we're gonna talk about circle. Audrey, can you read what a circle is?
What is circle? A circle is a closed two-dimensional figure in which all the set of all the point in the plane is equidistant from a given point called the center.
So I'll give you an example what Audrey just said. So I'll draw a bigger circle, wait. So we have here a circle, right? What Audrey said is that it's all the points in the circle is equidistant from a center. So this is our center. Now, all those points from the center should be equidistant, and it should be all around. Either it be here or here. It all should be equidistant to be called a circle. So right here we have the standard form and general form of a circle. Audrey, can you please tell us what the standard form of a circle is?
The standard form of a circle is open parenthesis x minus a close parenthesis squared plus open parenthesis y minus b close parenthesis squared equals to radius of 2.
Now, Audrey, can you tell us what the general form of a circle is?
General form of a circle is x squared plus y squared plus ax plus by plus c equals to 0.
So now we're going to have some examples of how we get the center of the circle from the standard form. So right here we have example 1, x minus 5 squared plus y plus 6 squared is equal to 16. So I'm going to write down here center. So how do we get the center? So we get the center from these two values. This is our h and this is our k. So center is h and k, and then we just change the value. We just have to change the sign. So negative 5, we change the sign to positive 5. And then we have k. So this is positive 6. So we change the sign of positive 6, we get negative 6. So here we have our center of the circle we have. Then we're gonna get the radius from the standard form. So this is our radius. What we need to do to get radius, so in our standard form we have here r squared. So meaning we have to get the square root of 16. So square root of 16 is 4. So the radius is 4. Then we have example number 2. We're going to get the center as well and the radius. So center, again it's h and k. This is h and this is k. All we need to do is change the sign of h. So change the sign. From positive 2 we will get negative 2. And then for k we also change the sign. So from negative 4 we'll get positive 4. Then to get our radius, we simply get the square root of our value right here. So we square root 36, what we will get? We will get 6. So square root of 36 is 6. So this is how we get the center and radius of a circle from its standard form. Next up, we are gonna learn how to transform or to change a standard form to general form and then vice versa. Now we're going to learn how to change a standard form to general form, right? Right. The first step is to square the first term. So we're gonna focus on this one first, on the group right here. So first, we square the first term. So this is the first term, square. We get x squared. And then we get twice the product of the first term and the second term. X times 2 is
X squared.
okay, x times 2 is 2x. And then 2x times 2. Because we said the second rule is twice the product of the first term and the second term. So you will get 4x. 2 times x, 2x, and then multiply to 2, we get 4x. And then for the last rule, we need to square the last term. So square the last term, we will get positive 4. And then we focus on the y group right here. So the first rule again, square the first term. Square the first term, we get y squared. And then we get twice the product of the first term and the second term. So 3 times y, we will get 3y. 3y times 2, we will get 6y or negative 6y. That's the value right here is negative. And then for the last rule, we square the second term. Square negative 3, we will get positive 9. And then we just simplify the equation. So x squared and then y squared. And then positive 4x and then negative 6y and then positive 4, positive 9. And then you should be wondering, or you might be wondering why it become negative 64 or why did I transpose 64? We transpose 64 because in the general form, we needed to equate to 0. So we will transpose negative 64 and then simply combine like terms. So positive 4 plus positive 9, we get 11. Positive 11 minus or plus negative 64, we will get negative 51. Now we'll go to general to standard form. So the first step is to group the variables or the variables that have the same variables. So we have x squared and then for x, they have the same variable. So we will group them in one parenthesis. And then we will get the other group, which is the y group. So we will add here y squared and then negative 6y. And then to get the missing values right here, let me reset for you so you can understand better. We first need to get the value of this second term. And then we divide it to 2. And then we square it. So 4 divided by 2,
2
and then 2 times 2,
equals 4.
so we will add 4 here, and then 4 on the other side as well. So plus 4. And then we do the same thing for the other group. Negative 6 divided by 2
Is negative
3.
3.
Right, negative 3. And then we multiply it by itself because it's squared. Negative 3 times negative 3, we get positive 9. Then we add also on the other side. Then, to get this, we simply, so we have this, right? To get the missing value or the variable missing right here, we will simply get the sign of the second term. So, in our case, this is positive. So, right here, positive. And then we get the value of 4 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, so I write 2 right here. Then we do the same thing on the other side. We get first the sign of the second term, so for our case, negative 6y, so negative. And then you get the value after you divide the value of the second term to 2, so negative 6 divided by 2,
Is negative 3.
and then put it here. Get the sign. Okay. Then how did we get 64? We simply combine the like terms. So 51 plus 9 is 60. 60 plus 4 is 64. So that's how we change standard to general and then vice versa. Now we're gonna graph this example. So I'll ask Audrey to erase. Wag pa. Sige, erase mo. Erase mo na. So I'm gonna write our example. X plus 3, then plus then square, y minus 5 is equal to 60. Okay. So we have right here our example. So earlier we learned how to get the center and radius. So to graph, we first need the center and the radius. So our center is, remember, this is our h and this is our k. So our h is change the sign, then get the value. We will get negative 3. And then change the sign, then get the value, positive 5. And for the radius, it is very simple. You just square the given, get the square root. So square root of 16, 4. So we write 4. So the radius is 4. Now we just draw a Cartesian plane. A very, very simple one. So we got the center negative 3, positive 5. So h is going this way, or x, and then this is y. H is also known as x, so negative 3, we got negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. And then positive 5 on the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, then we just match it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our center is right here. Now that we found our center, we will now graph the radius. So 4 units away from the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. And then 4 units to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So this is our other radius. And then again, we do it going upwards now. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then towards the left now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. Then we just simply match or connect the dots while making a circle. Let me redo because it's ugly. Didn't match again. So this isn't easy if you don't have a tool to make a perfect circle. But if you can, just match the dots. There you go. So that's how we graph from the standard form. We first get the center and then the radius. And then on a Cartesian plane, we find these coordinates and simply go 4 units away from the center. And then you match the dots. That's it for for graphing the circle. Next up, we will learn how to know if an equation is an imaginary circle, a circle, or a point circle. Hello.
To determine if an equation is a point circle, imaginary circle, or circle, the formula is a squared over 4 plus b squared over 4 minus c.
So here we have some examples. So we can try this. So the formula is a squared over 4 plus b squared over 4 minus constant. So if you get the value after doing this formula, if you get a value that is less than 0, so basically a negative value, it is an imaginary circle. But if you get a value of positive, it is a normal circle. But if you get a value of 0, if this equates to 0, then you have a point circle. So first, let's do example number 1. So yeah, x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 2y plus 10 is equal to 0. So 6x is our a, so you can substitute it later. And then 2y is our b. So the variable with x is a, and then the variable with y is b. So let's substitute. So we have negative 6 squared divided by 4. And then we have positive 2 for our b, and then squared over 4, and then minus 10, which is our constant. So negative 6 squared, we will get the value 36. So let me just erase this. 36, then 2 squared, we get the value of 4. So 36 divided by 4, this would equal to 9. And then 4 divided by 4 is 1. So 9 plus 1, we get 10. And then now we subtract it to the constant. So our constant in this case is 10. So 10 minus 10 equals to 0. So we have the value 0. So now we can determine that this equation is a point circle. Since earlier we discussed that if you get a value of 0, it is a point circle. Then if you get a positive value, it is a normal circle. Then if it equates to a negative, then it is an imaginary circle. Now let's tackle equation number 2, or example number 2. We have x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y plus 18. Again, this is our a, and this is our b. Then this is c, or our constant. So we replace the values, a squared or 4 squared over 4, and then negative 6 squared over 4. So, and then minus the constant, which is 18. Let's simplify the equation. 4 squared is 16. 6 squared is equal to positive 36. And then we divide this both by 4. We get 4 divided by 16 is 4. 36 divided by 4 is 9. And then we add this 2 to get 13. 13 minus 18, we get the value negative 5. So this example is an imaginary circle. So I'm going to write here point imaginary since we got a negative value. This has no graph, so it is an imaginary circle. Now let's go on to the last example. So our equation is x squared plus y squared plus 10y. So you may notice we are missing some values. We are missing our constant and our A. So we can still do this. So A, -4, since this is 0, this will get cancelled out. And then we focus on B, which is 10. Positive 10 squared over 4. And then again, we don't have a constant, so this is 0. This just gets cancelled out. So now we just need 10 squared, then divided to 4. So 10 squared, this would equate to 100. 100 divided by 4 is 25. So now we can say that this equation is a normal circle. So up next, we will be tackling about ellipse. So I hope you got our discussion about circle, because now we are going to focus more on ellipse. So now we're going to talk about an ellipse. Audrey, can you read what an ellipse is?
What is ellipse? An ellipse is a irregular oval shape traced by a point moving in a plane, so that the sum of its distance from two other points, that's called foci.
Okay, so now that we know the basic definition of an ellipse, basically it is an oval, and then we have 2 points, these are called the foci. So we're going to go to the parts. So right here, we have our center of origin. For our case, this is only 0, 0. And then right here, we have the co-vertex and the vertex. So what I like to do to easily understand our standard form, so I would make my vertex A, then my co-vertex B. Why? Because vertex is always the largest value, but it is the bigger value. So vertex is actually your longest axis. So right here, our vertex is on that x-axis. So that's why it is our vertex. And then the one with the lower value, so that's called our covertex. And then we have our two foci. So right here is our foci, and then right here is our foci. A foci is where it is graphed mostly. And then next up, we're going to learn about the standard form, and then later some equations. So right here is the standard form. The standard form is x squared over x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared is equal to 1. So always remember that it should always equate to 1. And when you're answering quizzes, most probably your teacher would ask you to simplify this. So example, it's 3 squared. Don't put it as 3 squared. Place it as 9 so that it is simplified. So up next, we're going to learn about how to graph an ellipse and its equations and some equations. And then we will also tackle there how to find the foci and maybe even the lattice vector. So now, we're going to learn about equations of an ellipse. Excuse me. So, the first step to graph an ellipse, we find the foci and then there. So, first step, we get our values. So, our a squared is, since this is the larger value, this is our a squared. This will equate to 25. And then our b squared is 9. And then we also need the values of a and b. So we just square root 25 and 9 to get the values of a and b. So the value of square root of 25 is 5. Am I correct? Can you check?
Yes.
5. Then the square root of 9, you would get 3. So this is the first step. We get our values. And then for the next step, we get our foci. So to get the foci, the equation is c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared, and then you just substitute the values. So for our a squared, we substitute it with 25. And then for b squared, it is 9. So the next step is to subtract. So, Audrey, can you subtract 25 to 9?
25 minus 9 equals to a 16.
Right, 16. Then the next step is to square root the value, because we need c to be just c. You don't need c squared, so you cancel c squared and then we get the square root of 16. What is the square root of 16? 4. So this is our foci. That we know that. And then the next step is to determine our vertex, co-vertex, and then foci. So you write here vertex or v, and then you take its value. Since it is on the x-axis, it is on the h. So right here h, and then k. So our value for x is 5. We take the square root of 25, which is 5. And then we take the value of k, which is 9, square root of 9, which is 3. Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. So actually, this should be 0, and this should be positive, negative. So this is only the coordinates of our points. So next is our co-vertex. Co-vertex or CV. You first get the value of x, which is 0, and then the value of k or y, positive or negative. So which has the lower value? It is 9, so it is our co-vertex. And the square root of 9 is 3, so we're going to write positive and negative 3. And then finally, our foci. Since our vertex is on the x-axis, our foci will also go to the x-axis. Now, there are some cases that our vertex is on the y-axis, but we will tackle on that on the next equation. So foci, write foci or c, and then we just put the value which we got was 4. So positive, negative, 4, and then 0. Since we are on 0, 0 axis. Now we're gonna graph this. Make our Cartesian plane. Since it is at the 0, 0, our center would be at the origin. And then we first get our vertex. So positive, negative 5 on the x-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is our first point. And then negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and then negative 5. That is our other point for our vertex. Now we get our co-vertex, which is on the y-axis. Positive, negative 3, so we go up 1, 2, 3. And then 3 going down as well. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. And then now we just need our foci, to plot our foci. So again, our foci is on the x-axis because our vertex is on the x-axis. So positive, negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is where our foci is. And then negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. That is where our other foci is. Now we just simply match to create the ellipse. So right here, there. That is how to graph a vertex from its standard equation. That is if it's horizontal. Now we're going to do another equation for you to understand more. Is equation number 2 would be an ellipse that would be going up. So now let's try that. So equation number 2 or example number 2 is going to be x squared plus y squared over 16 and over 36. So you would notice that the higher value is on y squared. So this is just one way to determine if an ellipse is going upwards. So right here, we're gonna get our values first. So a squared. So since a is our higher value, which is 36, we get 36 for a squared. And then b squared. And then b is always the lower value. So in this case, 16 is our b squared. Then we square root this two to get our a and b. So Audrey, what is the square root of 36?
6.
6. Square root of 16?
4.
4. So now we got our values. We will compute for our foci. Again, the formula we use to get the foci is c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. So 36 minus or b squared, 16. 36 minus 16, 20. And then c squared. We need to square root both sides. And so squared. Then we're left with c. So can you please get the square root of 20?
4.47.
So we can round it up. So 4.47, but we can round it up right here, and we will get 4.5. So now that we know our foci is 4.5, we can graph now. So let's draw our Cartesian plane. Again, we are at 0, 0. So our origin is right here, or our center. And then we use a, the value of a, for our vertex. Since we know that a is on the y-axis, let's count up going up, 6 going up, and then 6 going down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. Then we get our covertex, which is b. So the lower value is on x. So we go 4 going to the right, then 4 going to the left. So positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4. Then going to the left, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. That is where our covertex is. Now, to plot the foci, since we understand or we know that our higher value is on the y-axis, then our foci should also be at the y-axis. So 4.5 going up as well, and then going down. So 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So right here in the middle. And then 4 going down, 4.5 going down as well. 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4.5. Now that we've determined every parts of the ellipse, we graph it. So we just match the points. Try your best to make it as perfect as possible. So this one looks like a circle, but it is an ellipse. So that's it for conic sections, and specifically circle and ellipse. Thank you for watching, and
Nice.